Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are here on Coof Radio. Dang Wild, crypto worm of Run BTC. Man, we got a lot to talk about. It's been a minute. We're waiting for the rest of our constituents to join. They should be coming in shortly. But before they get in, let's talk about this breaking news from the NFL with Brian Flores, Bill Belichick. And Bill Belichick is always in some scandal shit, right? That nigga is like the Olivia Pope of the NFL. But Brian Flores, Bill Belichick, Brian Dable, I think, or Brian Dable. I don't know how to say his name.
Dable, yeah.
Brian Dable, yeah. So basically, Bill Belichick texted the wrong Brian, like, "Congratulations, Nick. I heard you got 2 jobs lined up." And then Brian got a little excited.
Excuse me, coach.
Yeah, he's like, "You sure?"
Right.
You sure?
Yeah.
Jim said Bill did that on purpose.
Yeah. Bill about to retire after this, bro. Once he's
I'm about to blow this whole shit up on the way out. But I'm glad that this happened because we've been talking since the Kaepernick situation about how faulty the NFL has been in regards to just the way they treat their players, the way they treat black folks in management, the way they treat black coaches. But it's always been tough because it's kind of that thing of, we know we're not getting hired because of racism, but we don't have like empirical proof. And I think they finally got the proof they need to at least open that door. Hugh Jackson, I don't know if y'all saw, Hugh Jackson joined the class action suit today as well. And he said they did the same thing to him in Cleveland, where he was 1-31. He said they literally cut all the veteran players, before, right before they started the season, cut the players that could help them. So I don't know, man. It's interesting. I'm interested to see where this lands. Jim said, and shout out to Jim. Everybody who don't know, Jim McElroy was actually an ex-NFL player as well. UCLA Hall of Famer. Great wide receiver from UCLA, but more than anything, he was a general. You know what I'm saying? And gave us some of the most exciting games we ever saw in high school football. I would come home every Friday telling my little brothers, the tales of Jim McElroy. So shout out to him for watching the show. But he said, "Yeah, don't kick it to Jim. He was Washington's Devin Hester." Bill know what he was doing. He ain't clumsy like that. That was very calculated. Now that you say that, Jim, you could be onto something, because they always say that Bill is the evil genius. So
right,
he said $100K to lose games. I would have took that deal,
man.
And if you think about the amount of games that they lost, because think about, just take Hugh's record, right? Hugh was 1-31, so that's 100,000 times 31. Yeah, I might have had to. But because he said he couldn't do that to the game, I might have had to do that to the game. Because look at what the game doing to you now, player.
And then you get fired for said record. I mean, that's really the irony of this, is that they would come to these coaches in private, ask them to lose games, and then hold them accountable for a record they told them to lose games under. It's crazy. But as you guys know, I'm happy to see this come out. I want to sit back and watch the NFL burn to the ground, and I will be right there with popcorn watching it burn.
Well, I want to talk to your point, Ron, about how you said they was setting black coaches up, right? Because not only are they setting them up to lose, but they also setting them up to not get other jobs and to use them as a precedent to not hire black coaches, right? So they bring them in, set them up on some, we don't want you to win. And then when they don't win, they fire him and tell people he can't win. So how you going to get another job if you're set up like that? So then it's like, well, we already hired a black coach and he didn't win. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like it's crazy how the wheels of racism really been working in this. Quincy, what's your thoughts on the whole debacle?
In 2 months, we will have more black Supreme Court justices than we have black coaches in the NFL. So that's gives perspective. No, Marvin Lewis said that it happened to him. He said that he went to go interview for the Carolina job. He had an interview set up for the Carolina job, and what's his name? Mortensen, that football reporter. reported that Carolina was going to hire John Fox that Friday. So he said, he went in anyway, and then Carolina hired John Fox that Friday. So what I'm happy about, and I've been in this situation before, is that when you step out like this, what you're looking for is people to back you, to join you. There's nothing like stepping out there like that, and you hear all these racial complaints, and then you look around, and everybody all of a sudden, I'm trying to get my money. Trust me, I know what that felt like. Everybody, oh yeah, they racist and they this, and you go in and you do your thing and you file a lawsuit, and now everybody's, I gotta do this. So I'm just happy to see that other black coaches like Hugh Jackson and Marvin Lewis, and I hope many more come out and step out and not leave them out there on that island.
Yeah, well, Ryan Clark actually came out and said not only does he hope that more coaches come out, he said he feels like more defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators, executives that went up for GM jobs. Now he said more of them need to come out as well.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of what happened to Kaepernick. Kaepernick came out and he was on that island for a long time. It wasn't until I think Jerry Jones said some dumb shit about having their toes on the line. Then players got offended and that went away. So I'm just happy to see. I hope just more and more coaches come on, because it's no coincidence, that you have a league you got a league that's 77% black, all white owners, all white GMs, all white coaches, and then black players. And so, so something needs to really be addressed, and it just sheds more light just on that's America
in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, pretty much.
Yeah, like the few, the few trying to run everybody and not give us those opportunities. But like I said, I'm glad this is coming out the way it is, because this is one of those instances where, and I know we've all been through this before, where you feel like something racist is happening to you, and when you try to explain, people but where's the proof? Like, what's the proof? And you it's hard to explain the proof, because I know what happened. I know what I felt. I know what went down in that room. They're like, well, if you don't have actual proof, you don't have actual proof that they were being racist, then but this shows that the Rooney Rule is some bullshit. You know what I mean? Right. This really shows that the Rooney Rule is, it's really about checking a box. It's not really about more opportunities for black coaches. It's about, basically just, okay, we got to interview a couple of black folks so we can get in and get out and hire the guy that we want to. Because as we know, there's so much nepotism in the NFL. Like, you got sons in there, like Kyle Shanahan and his son. And no, Kyle is the son. Who's the dad? I can't remember the dad's name.
Well, they were showing that. Yeah, they were saying, take for instance Sean McVay. His grandfather was a GM and a head coach, and just like the other young man at Cincinnati. This is an old boys network, and I think Quincy kind of nailed it when he said, we at some point we have to understand this is just like a microcosm of what America is. And I experienced it at my job. They came to me, one of the two black people at work, and they were asking, hey, what should we do for Black History Month? I said, hire black people. Let's not even talk about anything else out of that, because there's no need to speak on it or talk about Black History Month and give because they're not reading that shit. They're just next.
Damn a tweet, hire somebody black. Damn a tweet, make a difference.
And like I told them, until you do that, let's just put this off, because you saying something only looks fake. So they so far have taken my suggestion and have skipped over trying to send out an email in support or acknowledging Black History Month. Hopefully until they acknowledge the black people and hire black people.
Yeah, I think the Raiders hired a black assistant GM today.
Yeah, I heard about that. Because Hugh was on Roland's show too today. Just as a heads up, people check that out.
Yeah,
Well, the crazy thing is too, Quincy, like me and you have talked about this a long time ago. The Raiders kind of always been ahead of the curve in regards to hiring black coaches, black GMs, black.
You remember how when Al Davis decided to hire Arshell?
That shit was crazy.
How big of a deal that was, and
I think I was in middle school when that happened. I still remember how crazy everybody went when that happened.
And I didn't really realize because I was so young the magnitude of that, but that was a huge deal.
Or even what's my man who was the Washington Commanders quarterback in the Super Bowl? Remember how that was the whole story?
Doug Williams.
Doug Williams. Yeah, that was the whole.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get used to Commanders. Yeah, I'm trying to get. That's what they call them.
Couldn't they pick a name that doesn't involve controlling someone like Commanders?
I was not. I think they was trying to go with the Commander in Chief whole deal, but that shit is horrible.
Don't control anything.
Oh, that makes sense, Quincy. Commander in Chief. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it was. It's still bad. I like the way how it was.
The
Washington football team. I thought that was dope. To go with Washington football team. But back on topic, I just think about is it ironic that the Rooney Rule, who is the former owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers, his team is the only one with a black coach?
That's crazy.
The irony.
Like the irony of that. Like that the person who came up with that rule, and they got a badass back coach too. Like for him to, he probably gonna go down as one of the greatest coaches of all time. For him to never have a losing record in how has it been, 18 years, some shit like that?
Yeah.
15 seasons.
Yeah, so it's
well, and to Jim's point too, our show was successful too. So it's not like when they hired the first black coach, he was trash, and it was that was a failed experiment.
I mean, we was rolling, and then we got blown out in that AFC Championship against Buffalo, but that was right before Bo Jackson got hurt. So he was rolling, but I made a comment. I said I wish Al was he got hired Brian Flores just because to put a finger in the NFL. That motherfucker stayed suing the NFL. He hired the first Latino coach. Tom Flores.
Asian woman. I think Asian woman too, right?
Yeah, like Al. And that's the type of person that's why Al wasn't well liked by other owners, because he always went against the grain. So as much people give him shit because he did go senile running the team in late. We need more Al Davises. Definitely in the NFL from a perspective of I'm gonna hire the best person.
Yeah, man.
The white jumpsuit is what made Al cool. I mean, Al was just cool.
So I'm interested to see where this goes, and I applaud Brian Flores because Brian said even if I get hired by a team, I'm not stopping the lawsuit. I applaud the other black coaches that's stepping up, talking about it, saying something. And what's going to be interesting is because now they have shows like I Am Athlete and The Pivot where they've been kind of pulling back the curtain a little bit. I think this is going to make them pull back the curtain even more in regards to talking about those practices, those things that happen, teams tanking. Like, I think this shit is going to have repercussions that go a little bit further than just Brian Flores. Well, one can hope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one thing to that point, Dan, when you have a moment.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. But no, they were talking about this on Roland's show, and the lawyers, he usually has a few lawyers on there, and they were saying this case actually should have a little bit of meat to it. For one, because of what he's saying. He's, for one, coming out in public, which a lot of people wanted Colin Kaepernick to do up front. So he's speaking for himself, he's articulating himself, and he has receipts. Those receipts are what are going to allow the court to, or force the court to at least get to discovery. As we know, the NFL, that's what they don't want, is discovery. Once we start going through them emails and whatnot. But at this point, he said this is not about money. So them trying to buy him off once discovery becomes an issue is the key. If he can just stick around through discovery, and all that shit come out about the NFL that we know is there. Because today, you know, people have been wiping. They've been calling their IT guys. I'm surprised I didn't get a call. I heard you do IT work. Can you wipe hard drive? You know, but that's out there, fellas. Hey, once it's sent, it's out there. So it's going to come out. Our hope is to get a good judge that, you know, hopefully one of Biden's appointments or somebody, we get a fair judge that's going to at least be willing to hear and kind of put some legs to this. Because as we know, these NFL owners, they have ties that go all the way to the White House. So. And Roland even mentioned that Congress may want to look into the NFL, because what this is showing is that they were, even though they're a private entity and have their own antitrust, they're basically creating rules for themselves, which is the Rooney Rule, and then not punishing themselves for going against the rules. So they're saying there's some sort of tie, I guess, to their antitrust. So kind of like the
police doing some shit and then investigating themselves and finding themselves not guilty.
Correct. So there's going to be some things that come out, and I'm just glad it's a younger man that's not beyond the age and actually was winning, because, you know, this is going to be the comments online. Well, he was a crappy coach anyway, or, well, you know, all the things they said about Cap. So this has teeth. I'm very interested to see what happens. So just wanted to add that point.
And you know, to your other point, when you were saying, I hope he can stay fast through, like, you know, the payout shit. His main thing, and he's been saying this on every show I've seen him on today, he said, "This not even about me." He said, "Because if it was about me, I probably, you know, I'm probably ending my career right now." He said, "But this is for all the coaches after me who deserve a chance and who deserve a shot. Like, it's bigger than me." So if you got somebody like that who's really like, "Yo, this is not about me," the NFL is in trouble, because they can't just pay him off for the job. They can't just make him go away with a check. And that's what they
look what Cap inspired.
Yeah.
That's all Cap, man. I mean, I don't think we would have a Brian Flores if we didn't have a Cap.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You know,
yeah, we're moving on to more crazy shit in Black people world.
You guys talked about the Supreme Court already?
Nope, that's what I'm going to right now.
Waiting on you.
The world is going crazy because the president had the audacity to say out loud, "I'm going to nominate a Black woman for Supreme Court." All the way to the point where you have Ted Cruz calling it reverse racism and saying Black women should be offended that he named Black women and didn't say he was going to hire the best person with the best qualifications. Now, before we get into this is interesting to me when they say this, because when they say, well, it should be about hiring the best person with the qualifications. If you look at the Supreme Court, was it 115 to 117 have been white men, 100 something like that?
It's been a total of 115. 808 have been white men.
Right. So when y'all talk about qualifications, the way y'all talk about it, that means y'all think off top that white men are more qualified than everybody else, just based on the percentages and numbers. And also, y'all hero Ronald Reagan said in his campaign he was gonna nominate a woman, and it was never this kind of stink when he said that. So I think the problem is he said the word Black in front of woman.
Trump did it with when he said he was gonna replace Ruth. He said I'm gonna appoint
Amy Coney Barry.
Yeah, and it was no backlash like this.
So what do you think it is, Quincy? Go ahead, get into it. Let's get into it.
Well, we know what it is. You know, well, he said this during a campaign. And I was talking to Chandra this morning, and we were just talking about just things that Biden been able to just say that Obama could have never said. Like, can you imagine Obama running and saying, "Oh yeah, if y'all like me, I'm gonna put a Black woman in the Supreme Court"? He would have never made it to the White House.
Right.
So, but just on top of that, within last year, Biden has appointed 24 Black federal judges. That's like the most in history, and 8 of them were Black women. And he appointed. There have never been that many Black women appointed to the appellate court either. So, I mentioned it before. How you control this country is by getting those seats, because as you can see, when bills and things don't fall through, the next level you go to are the courts. And so it's very important that you fill those seats with during your term in your presidency as possible. It's been a couple of court cases as far as gerrymandering in the states rejected the gerrymandering that I think it was about 4 states tried to do. So that just shows you how important, these courts and why they having such a fit. Also, like you said, 85% of the federal judges Trump appointed were white men. So that goes into the historic, appointments of white men being in the Supreme Court. So I think that it's time for a black woman to be the ones I've seen. Like everyone, some people have asked me, do I have a favorite? I think they all are qualified. I know one of them is Stacey Abrams' sister. I can't remember her name.
Really? I didn't know that.
And
that's called that family right there.
I like the one. I'm a little biased. She's California Supreme Court, and I only like because she's the youngest. Because I don't know if people realize Clarence Thomas was 43 when Bush appointed him.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I want somebody that's gonna be shit. If we could elect somebody that's 21,
right?
I want somebody because it's important, but representation is important. What was that?
Is there an age limit for Supreme Court?
Yeah, I'm quite sure it is because it's the age limit for president. I think it's like after 35, but it's probably the same. But so having a black woman on the Supreme Court is and the ones that I've seen are they more than well qualified, and I think we need that voice. Of representation doing a lot of those hearings that's going on, and so it's gonna be history in the making. Of course, they having a fit with this, qualifications. I don't have it right in front of me, but I could tell you that woman Trump appointed was nowhere. Her resume don't touch none of these women. Not even close. Not even close. So,
as it always is, the black woman got to be over and beyond. And still called to the mat as if they, she's not enough.
Yeah, and so it's they having to fit, but let them like Bakari Seller said. Like I don't have time for your white tears right now. Like we're gonna celebrate right the person that he nominates. So far, those two bastards in the Democratic Party seem like they're going to go along. I don't see why wouldn't they at this point. They didn't already so far voted all of Biden's nominees, and two were nominated. Two was voted in last night by the Senate. So federal judges. So I don't see why this is an issue for the Supreme Court. I already see they already slandering one, talking about how she didn't stand up for black women. Like they doing the whole Kamala threw black people in jail shit. Mm-hmm. So be conscious of that type. And it's a white dude that was putting the shit out there like that. So and people was like chewing them up. So just watch all those little false narratives about these women, because up until this point you haven't heard shit about them. Right. Now, and when I mean they haven't raped nobody in college.
We got to use that. We got to use that, Quincy. Whenever a white person come to us and tell us about black people, if it's only during the election, we don't want to.
They haven't drugged nobody in college. They haven't done no shit like that. So all these women are very stellar women, and I'm glad to see that we're gonna be a part of this history to see the first black woman elected to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, real quick, shout out to Christian Melendez. He said he wanted to judge with a Twitch account. I guess talking about when you say you want a 21-year-old. But speaking of that, everybody who's watching, we want y'all to go join Fanbase. FANBASE, join Fanbase. Join the Fanbase app, because we're not gonna do it this week, but the next Uncouth Radio show, we're gonna do a post show, and you could talk to us like Clubhouse, right? We can all get on, and y'all after the show, we're gonna get on and talk to each other, because we want to start having conversations with y'all, the people as well. Like the comments are cool, but I want us to get into a forum like Clubhouse so we could really start hashing some shit out, really start having some conversation. So again, if y'all all get a chance, go download the Fanbase app. It's a Black-owned social media app, and we want to start having our post-show conversation there.
Yeah,
Miko came through.
I want to say one more thing. People was mad because he said, you know, he mentioned her race, and they say if Biden just would not mention her race and just select her, it wouldn't be any problems, which is bullshit. He elected the first federal, the first Black woman to serve to represent the Federal Reserve. And they're crushing. They still saying the same racist shit. And he didn't mention her race before he elected her. So, for folks that say, well, he shouldn't have just mentioned her race. Even people who he has selected and he didn't mention their race, when they found out they was Black, they still getting the same racist shit. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, man. But like, I've never seen this many people upset.
Thank you, Miko.
Because he said, yeah, Miko said there's no age limit to be appointed to the Supreme Court. Thanks, Jim. I would love to have you on. You know, you give great conversation. We have some great back and forth. So I would love to get you on there. So yeah, go join Fanbase. Because like I said, not this show, but the next Uncool show, we want to start having our post show so we could just really start digging in, getting into it. I want to hear from my intelligent folks who have good things to say, because as you all know, iron sharpens iron. And I love y'all in the comments. So I know the conversations that we can have, the conversations on the forum, is going to be kind of incredible. So we want to add that, you know, little piece to what we're doing. And another thing, you know, I just feel like it's 2022 and we're about to have our first Black woman Supreme Court judge. Y'all should just shut the fuck up at this point. You know what I mean? Like, like, there should be nothing to be said when
they don't get it.
Y'all have had 90% of the Supreme Court been white men. 90%. Like, come on, man.
It's the most qualified.
Well, that's the same thing. And I hate when Black folks jump on that. Well, it shouldn't be about race. It should be just the most qualified. And I'm like, so you saying that you believe as a Black person that the most qualified person 90% of the time is a white male? Because that's what it usually is in all these instances, right?
Well, like I said, the NFL, same shit. It's the same shit. It's the same exact shit. With the NFL, same thing with this. There's no difference.
Yeah. So let's get into the last part. I want to wait for Ron to come back.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get into
I'm
this
here,
movie.
man. I'm just taking care of something at Staples Center, man. Or
crypto.com. They still dealing with it?
Oh man, it's crazy.
It's like using coupons disqualifies you from the Supreme Court according to them. Yeah, you know, it's crazy, Christian. It's like they have a totally different standard for Black folks that's elected to anything than they do for the unqualified mayonnaise that they be electing to all kind of wild shit. You know what I'm saying? But that goes back to even what we were talking about, you know, talking to Ron, what they're talking about with football. Like, Josh McDaniels can lose big games a ton of times and continue to get opportunities. And then you have a Black coach who was actually successful.
Lovie Smith.
Lovie
go to the Super Bowl.
Go to the Super Bowl and can't get another gig. Like, that's what we deal with. Like you said, Quincy, it's a microcosm. What's going on in the NFL is a microcosm of America. And
but I look, if anybody want to talk about qualifications, match those Black women that Biden is considered, match their resume up with Trump last to a point.
With Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett.
Don't. It's not even close. It's not even close.
And you know, me and Ron were kind of talking about this off camera. It's like, yo, it sucks because they tell us to do things the right way. They tell us to vote, to have our voice heard, and we do all of that. and it's still an issue, right? It's still an issue when you do it the right way. You're qualified, you work your way up, you so-called pull your way up, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and it's still an issue. So that shows you we know what the real issue is.
Oh yeah.
Trump's last appointee was a beer pong champion. And apparently that's all that he needed. He was a good old boy.
I was just happy that Justice Breyer, because at first he wasn't trying to bounce. And I know. I think once he saw what happened to Ruth, it was like, you can't take no chances, because Mitch McConnell have already said, like, if they take the Senate back, Biden not appointing no more judges. So, that's why I think that's why they rushing to get as many federal judges through in the last year or so. And he has appointed the most federal judges since John F. Kennedy. So, and from what I hear, Chuck Schumer said they're not gonna mess around. They're gonna speed through this process, as they should.
For the
Supreme Court, yeah.
Supreme Court, yeah. Well, yeah, because if they lose the midterms, they're gonna try to shut that shit down.
Oh no, they are. He already said it. He was like, I will hold that shit for like 2 years. Like, it won't be another judge for 2 years. So with all the shit that's going to court with voting rights and all that, it's important that Biden appointees get in before January of next year.
Yeah, man. So, that's something to keep an eye on. It's going to be interesting. And so let me ask y'all this, man. Do you think with Biden appointing all of these black judges to the federal courts, appointing a black woman to the Supreme Court, do you think that's going to garner him any goodwill with black folks when it comes re-election time?
No.
Why? I wonder if it's for the same reason I think it's not.
Because it's so much disinformation out there about this administration that people haven't really dug deep to do the research. And so because of that, and when you add with Democrats being bad with messaging, I don't think people really know that Biden has appointed the most black federal judges the first year than any other president ever. I don't think people know about the billions of dollars. I mean, Roland actually broke it down by how much each school got compared to $250 million they got from Trump.
Right. Yeah.
HBCUs got $6 billion from this administration in its first year. The $1 billion they gave to some of the black small business owners who didn't get any money during Trump when Trump was bailing out companies.
Yeah.
How important the infrastructure bill. I didn't realize we just thought it was Flint. It was 3,500 black and brown communities that was suffering from lint in their water. And the majority of the kids that tested positive for lint in their system was black kids. So that infrastructure bill, when it comes to pipes and stuff, that wasn't some just small deal. That child tax credit last year, every economist I've seen said it cut down black child poverty 50%. That's why Biden wanted to extend it 10 years. In the Build Back Better plan, because they saw the results of it within the year, so they want to extend it 10 years to the Build Back Better plan. So it's been a lot of things that not just the Supreme Court, but when I see Charlemagne go on TV, like, well, Biden get donkey of the day because he didn't get rid of the filibuster and he didn't pass the George Floyd Act and Voting Rights Act, and then don't put no context to it that the president can't get rid of the filibuster. It was Tim Scott that fucked up the George Floyd Act, and they put the Voting Rights Act up for a vote so you could see who was against the shit. So, but when you still have people that's going, well, Biden didn't do this, without giving full context, and those are passed around on memes, I don't think it's going to matter.
Damn, that sucks. What about you, Ron? Do you think it's going to garner any goodwill with black folks when it comes time for re-election?
I do. I actually do. I don't think black folks use any discernment when voting. I think we're kind of tied to a party, and we're kind of stuck regardless of what they do. I would like to add though that it would be great if a person's going to lie to you, that they how can I say this? I know they can't basically come out and run and tell you that, hey, we're not going to do shit for you. But I think it would be a better approach for Democrats to just start projecting themselves as the party for everyone. Like, hey, we're not going to really do anything specific for one group. But what we want to try to do is create a culture within this that is beneficial to everyone. I think the expectation that black folks have of the Democratic Party is just unrealistic. What we want from them is not possible in a system that's designed for us to remain at the bottom. And so, like Quincy said, I get what he says. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think we're going to turn out record numbers like always and vote for Democrats like always. Black women will top the charts as being the highest to vote for them, regardless of what they've done. But if they could, for me, just come out and say, you know what? That George Floyd bill it's a long shot. The things we can do are like infrastructure bills where we can basically get that other side to agree to fix their shit too. Like, we're really never going to get anything that specifically helps us. And with that approach, we're going to start just targeting things that we know can get fixed. It's no need for me to kind of throw things in the air or us to have things that just aren't realistic. And that's what it is, because black people have no other choice. With them, at least you have someone saying the truth, like, hey, we can't do shit just for you, but our attempt is to do everything. Whereas the Republicans, they ain't gonna do shit for you and ain't gonna try to do shit for other people. Like, kind of just lay it out there, and then let people make honest choices. Like, well, shit, because I'd still vote for them. With that said, I have no choice. I want to be on the team with my black people. I have no choice. But hey, and then I could come back to all these people talking shit about the Democrats. Nope, they told us they ain't doing shit. They ain't doing shit. They ain't hurting us, but they ain't doing shit. So, hey, I'm happy. But reality is that, we keep falling for this fucking banana in the tailpipe. And I'm done. It's like the same thing. They'll preach one thing and then give you what they probably already had a lot of this stuff in place. Like, they're tackling the stuff that was infrastructure bill. Those things were in place. This is for everyone. And believe me, child tax credits, those benefit everyone, white people being the highest level on welfare. So again, yes, it does help black people, but they're just not going to do nothing for us. And as black people, we just have to come to that realization. If you don't like it, fucking leave. And don't act like you don't have a choice to leave, black people. You choose to be here. So stop complaining. Do like Quincy, get educated on the rules, take your time out, but stop fucking going online with all this fucking complaining about shit you ain't gonna do shit about. That's it for black people.
I want to read this comment from Christian. It's a great comment. If they really wanted to change everything, give free college to anyone willing to major in structural and computer engineering, as well as coding, and an entire generation will be pulled out of poverty by sheer innovation.
Yeah, well, free college was part of the Build Back Better. And so
I do agree with that, Ron. I do agree that if more young black kids had access to free college,
I know some black kids.
Well, no, everyone. He said for everyone. Yeah, but he said for everyone. But a lot of people already have
everyone.
But look, no, but even if he does for everyone,
with these people.
No, but this is the thing,
and there's too many of them.
Well, no, because that's not how it works. Because first of all, legacies don't do shit anyway. A lot of legacies, they skip college. But I was saying, you think about now, black women are the highest educated group in the country, and they don't have the access now that a lot of the other races have already. Like, a lot of white people already have the access that he's talking about getting if everybody gets free college. We actually would take advantage. A lot of them don't take advantage with money and access. So I do agree that it would pull some of us out, because we have proof in the pudding and the data from what black women are doing now, and from from where Black women are raised out of poverty because of being educated. So if you have more Black women, Black boys, Black girls going to college, because as you know from the school we went to, we know a lot of people who couldn't finish their third year of school strictly because financial aid ran out or because they didn't have scholarships. Imagine if they did have free college for those majors. I think you would see a generation put out.
I think you're taking one approach, and what I disagree in is that I don't think college is for everyone. See, when a person says, let's give free college out to everyone, that's sort of sectioning out that group of people who college is for. If we're going to give anything out,
but that's a different conversation, Ron. That's a different conversation.
That's two different conversations. That's not going to pull poor people out of it. Any education is not going to pull us out. War is going to pull us out. We're dealing with money, 2% of income. Like it takes 200 years if we stop earning for them to even catch up with them. Like, so whatever they teach us, whatever, they already have that. They control the finance that's going to give you the money to build that company and to pull yourself out of wealth. And they're going to keep you right at arm's length so you never can get close to what they have. I get what the gentleman was saying, and I'm not rejecting that, hey, you can give us stuff, but stop being simple. Give us land. That will pull us up out of poverty. Just give us what you said you'd give us, 40 acres and a Ford. We don't need a mule no more. Give me a truck. I'm happy. I'll sell that land and I'm out of here.
I still disagree. I still think a generation that has access to free college, and also in the particular majors he's talking about that actually help push society forward, I think they will have a chance to grow.
What will those majors do if white people have to hire you? See, we do everything right. Black women go to college and they don't get paid what they should be paid. I just think we need another approach. And I left that point just at that. They're the highest educated, and I can damn sure show you they're probably not in the top 5 of earners. So us being more educated is not going to get us financially where we need to be. Us being financially educated and preparing, saving, stop spending can probably get us close to that. But we have 200 years, like we've got to really do the Jewish way. We can only deal with us. It's not going to happen. Like, we're in a financial hell.
Christian had a great point. He said you don't need white people to hire you to code your own apps and programs.
That's obvious, but we don't have enough to start businesses to hire our own. We have to go to them for money. Land builds wealth. See, let's look at how they obtain wealth. See, they didn't go through the education route. They went through the agriculture. They went through hard free labor. Like they knew the finances had to be in place. Once we built that, now we can have a whole class of educated motherfuckers that all the working people really didn't like. They dealt with that. But it bloodshed and financial literacy is the only way for us to get freedom. And I won't cut you off again, damn. I apologize for that, brother.
No, it's all good. What do you think, Quincy?
Both of you make great points.
What? Well, I think I'll tell you this. I have never seen no bill that has invested so much $1 billion into Black people as the American Rescue Plan and the Build Back Better plan. And there's a reason why Christian Cinema and Joe Manchin was paid $1.3 million to block it. And so I think that the focal point, I think what they're going to try to do is break it up and like make people vote on certain a study, make kind of like what they did with the Civil Rights Act in the 1960s, a study making it one bill where you got civil rights, voting rights, everything all in one. They were able to break it up. I think they're going to try that. But like I said, because I look at the polls, and right now, Raphael Warnock is losing to Herschel Walker. And Raphael Warnock, he's the reason why a lot of that shit, that's in there in Biden bills. That's one of the people that advised Biden to what to put much funding into certain places. And so to have somebody who I've watched on the Senate floor really stand up for us, really try to push bills and things to get passed and write legislations that we need and that we want, and he's still losing. That's why I really have no hope, because those are the folks we should be backing. As much as people talk about people, we need people black, that support the black agenda, blah, blah, blah. Well, we have those. But that's kind of the issue with the disinformation that's put out there. And instead of making, the focal point of two people who don't need the black vote to be successful, and that's matching the cinema, how instead of you really making a focal point of how to deal with them and how to get rid of them, people like Raphael Warnock is probably going to pay the price, and it's going to be a shit show from that point on.
Damn. Until our final point, Whoopi Goldberg has been given her punishment for saying that the Holocaust was not about race. The Holocaust was about inhumanity. Basically, she was saying it's white on white crime, and it got her in a lot of hot water. I'd like to get you guys' thoughts on, do you think the punishment was fair, and what do you think about what she said? Quincy, we'll start with you.
No, I don't think the punishment was fair. She said that was her opinion and perspective on history. It's not like she supported what the fuck Hitler was saying or supported the Holocaust. She just have just thought that all it was inhumane, and just thought that his motives or whatever it wasn't about race, which I disagree with. I think she was right. It was inhumane, but I do think it was about race, because anytime they felt that the Aryan race was superior to Jewish people and black people, because black people, I don't know if folks realize, black people was a part of those Nazi laws as well. And they felt that if you wasn't pale skin, blue eye, blonde hair, that you were inferior. And based off that, you was mistreated or killed. Same shit that went on here. So, but it's ridiculous for a 2-week suspension just because she said the shit was still inhumane. She just thought the motives was different, and it was more than one thing. It was about race. It was about different ideologies, culture, all that stuff. It was
economics. It's about economics as well.
Economics.
Yeah.
It was about a whole bunch of shit. So, and then I see people on Twitter, they like pointing out shit Meghan McCain said that was way off. Like all type of out of bounds shit that Meghan McCain was inaccurate on and out of bounds for saying, and there was never no 2-week suspension. When she said it, I cringed, because I already know they like fucking hypersensitive. Anytime somebody speak about the Holocaust and when she was saying that, I was like, this is gonna be something. I already knew. That's why I was already kind of cringed, like, Whoopi, just stop, because I knew it was gonna be something. But it seemed like from what I read was she thinking about quitting, because she did what they told her to do. They told her to apologize. She did that. She did her apology tour, and then they still suspended her, and kind of threw her under the bus. So
and Meghan McCain going hard on Whoopi, like she's going extra, nigga, posting articles with her talking about she don't understand anti-Semitism.
Yeah, like she needs to cut that shit out. Like Meghan McCain of all people, because see what's gonna happen. Twitter is unforgiving. They find videos on your ass, and I already seen a couple of clips that they have already started. So it just like I said, people are super hypersensitive anytime you talk about the Holocaust or whatever. So
remember, Meghan McCain was straight up calling COVID the China virus, like
the China show up. Yep.
And she actually used the Asian slur on air too. No suspension.
No, nothing. Not a damn thing. And so, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Whoopi step down. She don't need the money. You know, she's been doing the show as a favor for Barbara for years, and I heard her co-host. I was glad to see that. I guess they upset about the suspension as well. So that's good to see that, you know, not Joy or Sunny or any of them are like kind of throwing her under the bus. So I kind of have a feeling that it's not going to be a full 2-week suspension, because it seemed like that everybody's pretty pissed off about it, and they bringing out the contradictions and all the things that Meghan McCain did. But no, it didn't warrant no suspension. It was, you know, it was her opinion. She has a right to her opinion. It's an opinionated show. And like I said, it's not like she was like saying that Hitler was right or some shit like that. That'll definitely get you canned. You know, she just thought that it was inhumane. And a lot of, you know, because the thing is, a lot of people look at this stuff from an American perspective, you know, because America is black or white. You know, it's Marco Rubio ain't the same as Yasier Puig, and they both Cubans.
Right.
They come here, Marco Rubio is white, Yasier Puig a nigga. And although they both Cuban. So when you come to America, you know, it's black or white. But, you know, in other countries, you know, and like Hitler, he didn't consider Jewish people as white folks. And you know, that's their history. So, you know, when you look at these from American lens and it's black and white, you like it's white on white crime. But, you know, that's not why Hitler was taking out folks like that and tried to completely wipe out a whole group or race of people. See, he didn't think they were white. So,
Ron, I'm interested to hear your perspective.
Well, I mean, I think I just take the approach like I mentioned earlier. To your point, you were asking, is it unfair? I'm going to take my grandmother's approach. When I used to do shit that I thought, okay, I could just get away with, even though I'm special, or her grandchild. Whoopi understands what industry she works in. She understands the actual impact of mentioning that group of people. I think she knew that this was a possibility. What I was very disappointed in Whoopi is if you know you're going to get punished, why apologize? You said what you said, you meant what you said, and you meant them actually no harm. If they took what you said as harmful, then they need to really reevaluate and have an understanding, or maybe even ask you, hey, what did you mean when you said that? You know, but in my opinion, my grandmother, if I went home, hey, grandma, I work in the TV industry, they punished me for saying something against Jews. What the fuck you think they was going to do? You know who you work for. Why in the hell are you up there talking about their lifestyle shit you don't know nothing about? And then you better be glad they ass didn't fire you. You know, so are you getting paid? And that would be the approach. I'm no longer taking this approach of, hey, this is fair. This is America. Ain't no fucking fair. We know the rules. They're very clear. We understand they don't give two shits about us. Proceed accordingly and be cautious. She's going to do her 2 weeks. I hope to God she tells them to kiss her fucking ass and she goes and does her own podcast, because I think Whoopi could be her own content creator and do her own thing on Fanbase, for instance, you know, and bring her own community, because I think she has a unique set of followers, and they're not just Black women, men, you know, she has a very unique set of followers, and they'll follow her wherever she goes. But she has to be willing enough, like Brian Flores, to say to hell with this shit. I'm tired of kissing these people's ass, and I'm treating them. And see, it hurts when you're really a good person. And from most accounts that I've heard from Whoopi, there are some people that have had run-ins with her, but she's pretty much a good person. And they took her and made an example out of her. Y'all think she's one of the most powerful Black women in the industry? Watch this. Mm-hmm. You know, this is very calculated. They know exactly when they whoop us in front of everybody. Your mama, your kids. Get your ass bucket naked. Go get that switch and come take this like a woman or a man. And we just accept it. So I hope I wish her the best, though, because I know that sister has us at heart, ultimately.
Good points. For me, I think the suspension is unfair. She came back immediately and apologized, first of all. She came back immediately, not only apologized, but she apologized and talked about how she understood and how she was corrected. right? So my thing is, where are we in society where if you are truly having a teachable moment and you're still punished, right? Especially like Quincy said, you could tell she didn't mean malice. She wasn't saying like, oh, the Jews ain't a race, so they deserved it. That's not what she said. She was just saying, basically, you know, I feel like it's white on white crime. It's not the same as what's going on here in America. And I heard the CEO of ABC News is a black woman. So to do this shit, and in 2 weeks, basically, like you said, oh, you think you got the power? We got to show you ain't got no power, and you need to shut the fuck up and go sit in the corner for 2 weeks. Like they literally said in a statement, you need time to reflect. Why? She already came back and said, oh, I understand what I said was wrong. Somebody told me how it was, da da da. And if, as you see, because of this conversation, there are a lot of people who don't know that in some places Jewish is considered a race. A lot of people thought Jewish, and then you have to get into the whole conversation of race versus ethnicity.
Jewish.
You know what I mean? You got to get into race versus ethnicity and religion
versus American
religion versus culture. Like, yeah, so it's like, it's not like it's, my thing is you should be able to have a nuanced conversation about it.
Yeah.
And if someone says something, you should be able to correct them and say, no, Jewish is a race because da 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 da. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. It shouldn't be, oh no, Jewish not a race, it's a religion. You're anti-Semitic. I hate that shit. Because the same thing happens with homophobia.
Yeah.
I don't think you're a homophobe. Like, no, I'm not. You know what I mean? So I think that's the issue that I have here is the way that they're moving in regards to the situation. And again, it's always
like
us.
People in power.
Yeah, and it's always us who catch it, but it's always black folks who catch it like this.
Yeah.
It's always black folks.
It's like anti-Semitic is whatever we don't agree with.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily hate speech.
So.
Shit, we don't agree with you, so it's anti-Semitic. Like I said, you know, I get what she was saying, but if you go look at the Nazis' laws and things like that, dude didn't even want them, like you couldn't even mix blood. So obviously he thought it was a lot deeper than the culture or religion. If he didn't want you mixing blood with people, and that was an actual law that the Nazis had. So, you know, it just, to me, it was just a overreaction, and I knew it. That's why I was like, damn, they finna blow this shit all up, and they did, and it was a complete overreaction because she meant not a lick of malice. If it was, I would be like, you know, you kind of went too far, you know, on that. But she didn't. It was okay. That's her perspective on that situation. Somebody have a different opinion than share it, you know, well, this is why it was about race or other things, if you agree or disagree. But, you know, it's like motherfuckers coming over here, you know, thinking like, oh, you know, Europeans really came here to share food with the Indians. So, like,
right.
Do we? Yeah, well, I should say Native American. Let me be respectful because that was a name given to them by Europeans. But Native American, and now we celebrate it like, no, that shit was not about sharing food and Thanksgiving and all that shit. That shit was a lot deeper than that. And somebody oh no, I disagree. Well, you anti-American. All right,
I will just say though, the one thing that irked me, and I would just, you know, as opposed to making it an issue, I would just say, I would love if Black people would get as well versed about African history as they have about Judaism. Like I've really been hearing some Judaism scholars over this last couple of days about this, and I'm like, wow, like you know all of this about Judaism and you don't know shit about Black people. Like it is well, and this is not you specific. I'm just saying, like, dude, I'm going, and that's why I'm going in the comments trolling motherfuckers. Like, man, can you tell me this, and this? And they're like, oh, fuck you, you know. But Black people, we gotta have, like, the way they can have that same feeling, we gotta have that exact same feeling when someone says something about us. Like, because the reality is, it really hurts them. Like we make it like, oh, they're just being mad. No, because that was serious, and what happened to us was serious. So we need to have that same type of vigor,
that same energy.
It comes to like that same energy, you know.
he studied Jim Crow. He studied America racism to create what he created, to craft that. The apartheid in South Africa studied Jim Crow
American
racism here to craft what they what they did in South Africa.
And also, I was going to say, an important thing of note also is Whoopi Goldberg was talking about race through her lens as an American Black woman and how she experienced race in America.
Exactly.
And nobody gives a fuck about that. That's not being talked about. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
The way she was talking about, like you said, Quincy, like the way she was talking about it is through the lens of race in America. And nobody's utilizing that context at all. And I think it's on purpose.
What I would put it to somebody like this. The Tuskegee Airmen. When they was fighting that war against Hitler and they was going over there with their American experience, do you really think they saw Germans and Jews as different?
Right.
They fighting that war, doing what they did for this country in the 1940s, and going over there and looking at the war they was fighting. When they was fighting the Italians, when they was fighting Jewish people, I mean, when they was fighting to protect the Jewish people against the Germans, do you actually think that those brothers back then was like, oh, this is a whole different group of people? Or to them, it was just white folks?
Right.
I'm quite sure they just saw it like it was just white folk.
Mm-hmm.
And because they was looking at it from
an American lens.
The American lens.
But again, like I said, we should be able to have nuanced conversations, especially if you're not coming from a place of malice, especially if you're not trying to say or demoralize another race. Because yeah, it's hard to have a nuanced conversation when somebody's like a Holocaust denier, for example, right? But if you're talking about somebody who's trying to have a nuanced conversation about it and you still go after them with all the vigor you can, knowing that it was not like that, especially when it's a Black woman, I'm not rolling, man.
No, Whoopi, she probably went back and read up on some stuff, and that's why when she apologized, she broke it down the way she was able to articulate. Oh yeah, because they did this, it was about race. I'm quite sure she went back and nobody had to like. Let me go look that up. Make sure she came back out. Somebody should be able to do that. But like I said, people they fuck up on our history all the time.
What? And they not canceled from shit. Again, like I said, if we could run the tape on all the wild shit Meghan McCain said about Colin Kaepernick, all the wild shit she said about George Floyd, and you know, any of those kind of cases when it came to police brutality and all that shit, and she wasn't suspended once, and she literally called COVID the Asian flu. She called one of the Chinese something Hilton. I forgot what it was, but like she was saying all kind of mad racist shit and was never once suspended.
Yeah. But she's basically saying what they say in behind closed doors.
Right. So I'm like, that energy ain't the same. And that's why she's
not saying something they haven't heard.
Exactly. So that's why I'm saying, like, yo, if I was Whoopi, I'd be like, y'all kiss my ass. Like, especially because people don't realize, I don't know if people remember, Whoopi saved that fucking show.
Yeah.
After Barbara Walters left, that show was in a free fall.
Yeah. It was about when they had brought in Rosie and all that shit. It was about to crumble.
She saved that show, and this the motherfucking thing she get. Nah, dog. If I was her, I'd be like, America. After this 2 weeks, y'all can kiss my ass. I've been coming here through COVID, being sick.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
when we gonna stop saving America, man? We're just gonna drown this motherfucker.
Yeah,
we keep saving it.
We do, because we got soul. We got too much soul. That's the problem. All right, man. Well, shit, this has been a great show. I'm gonna say that DM because we gotta have some women on the post when we talk about
down the DM.
Yeah, we gotta have women on the post when we talk about that DM that was sent to Chandra today.
All right. Well, let me say this. That's I'm gonna highlight. I'm trying to highlight an unsung Black hero.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Talk about Robert Smalls.
Yes, sir.
I posted about him. If you never heard about Robert Smalls, look him up. He was a slave, and what he did, they had talked. Basically, he was one of the brothers. They talked too much, He learned how to sell ships, and he ended up stealing a ship from the Confederates and took it to the Union. And because of that, that opened Abraham Lincoln eyes, like, oh, blacks are willing to help us and fight with us. And that allowed Abraham Lincoln to open up the door to start having blacks fight against the Union. So Robert Smalls pretty much, and he was from South Carolina, snuck away, helped the Union out. They started fighting the Confederates. My favorite part about his story is after the war, when the Union won, he went back and bought his slave master's house.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up being a person that started the Republican Party in South Carolina. This was a different Republican Party.
Right.
He promoted legislation for public schools. He tried to get legislation pushed for us. Ironically, that congressional seat that he held, it was another black person that represented that seat until like 2011. And of course, we already know what the Republican Party is today. But Robert Smalls, look him up. He has a great, fascinating story. And he's just one of those black people we don't hear a lot about. But for somebody to take all the education, the wisdom that they taught them, use it against them, and then go back and buy your slave master's property. He's a goat in my.
That's gangster.
He's a goat in history to me.
And speaking of him, if you want to get a quick, little fun brush up on him, they did a segment on him on Drunk History, and I know Drunk History be hilarious, but it's also very accurate. So go watch the Robert Smalls and the Harriet Tubman section on Drunk History, and the first black woman to fly over the Pacific. There's a whole Black History, Drunk History section on YouTube.
Yeah.
So go to YouTube, Black History, Drunk History, and you'll find out some great things while, being entertained. So before we get out of here, one more time. First of all, everybody who was in the comments, we appreciate y'all. But Christian, Miko, Jim, all y'all, go join fan base. Because when we come back, we're gonna start moving. We're gonna follow us. We're gonna go to fan base after this, and we're gonna start having conversations where everybody can talk and get it in. We're gonna have the Uncouth after show for everybody to get down with us. Hey man, thank you guys for joining me.
Can I get one Black History?
Of course.
Check out
please.
Oscar Michaud's documentary on Amazon Prime. He was considered the first independent black director and whatnot. But it was an excellent documentary show. It's on Amazon Prime. Go check it out. Oscar Michaud, kind of spelled like DeVoe. You know that Louisiana bow.
Oscar Michaud. I'm gonna check it out. Yeah,
Michaud.
I need to watch that.
Very good documentary. Yep.
All right, man. Hey, everybody, once again, thank you so much. We appreciate your support always and forever. We'll see y'all next time.